Yo. Yo, yo, yo. How's it going, Manga Cat? Sparrow, less than. How has your week been so far? Dude, the weather over here is crazy. I can't tell if it's going to be sunny or raining. I can put the washing out. If I have to put the air on. It's horrible. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Right, I'm ready. Make sure everything is sorted. Music's fine. Hopefully it's not too loud. Alright, today, book club. I read, how many books did I read? I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books this weekend. I want to start with the two that are not part of this week's book club. Is Kaiju number 9, Kaiju number 8, volume 9. I feel like I may have actually read this last week, but I can't remember. It's in my pile for this week. You know, I've been so busy. But yeah, it's great. There's a bunch of kaiju been introduced, and it's still great. It's Kaiju number 8. I got volume 10, so I'm gonna be reading that this weekend. I'm super excited. It just can't get any better, I think. With the recent ending of My Hero and Jujutsu Kaisen in 5 weeks time, I hope this kind of follows suit and doesn't go too long. Not to say that it's getting boring, but now it feels like the end is coming. There's not much left. Like it's the start of the end. So hopefully it's not too long. And it wraps up really nicely and everybody's happy and it ends 10 out of 10. I also read Yona, volume 4. I'm doing weekly Yona reads now. Which means I only get like one volume done maybe because there's so many other volumes that I want to read. But this is really good. Yona's on a quest after being kicked out of her country, her kingdom. She's on a quest to find the 4 dragons, and she has just found her second dragon, the blue dragon. I was speaking to Zoe. I feel like the premise is very simple. I feel like she's going to build an army right now. She's got 2 of the 4 dragons. She'll get the other 2. They'll train. They'll build a bigger army, and then they'll take back their country. That's what it feels like to me. But I'm only on the 4th volume, so I have no idea what the next, 37 volumes are going to be like. It'll be crazy. Everything is ending now except from One Piece. I know it feels like it, doesn't it? It'll be crazy to see what Shonen Jump is like this time next year. They've not got a lot from what I know. I've not read Weekly Shonen Jump for just over a year and a half now. It'll be interesting. Regardless, I want series to finish early so they can, end on a high. Yona is an exception because it's like shoujo, so you get once a month. Okay, so book club was Shokugeki no Sanji and One Piece Ace's story. Now, again, no major spoilers, but I'll give a vague premise. Shokugeki no Sanji. This was illustrated by the same mangaka who did Food Wars, Shokugeki no Shoma. I don't know what Shokugeki means. I think that's like war. I think. Is this like war on Sanji? Sanji's war? I don't know what Shokugeki means. But this was garbage. Absolute garbage. Terrible. If you are a One Piece fan, I personally think this isn't for everybody. This is basically Food Wars with a One Piece coating. It goes through... How many chapters are there? There are 1, 2, 3, there's 6 chapters. And then there's like a special chapter at the end. And I think this is just... I don't want to rip into it too much because it might be good for some people. Shokugeki means food wars. What the hell is Shokugeki no Soma then? Is Soma the main character? Is that Soma the main character? I can't remember. Anyways, 6 chapters. Each chapter is based on a different era of One Piece or a different like arc of One Piece. The first one is like just before Sanji meets Luffy, and then the next one is when all the crew are on a boat randomly in the East Blue. After that, they're in Alabasta and they've just beat Crocodile and they're having a feast and Sanji's cooking. In all of these, there's a couple of post time skip arcs that are mentioned here, but it's just basically Sanji finding someone to cook for and cooking an elaborate meal. There's a lot of explanation as to where the food has come from, the ingredients, how to cook them, the challenges it's gonna show in front of Sanji, and how he's gonna overcome those challenges. Whether it's an eel that has a specific way of being cut, or a particular critique who needs specific food put in front of them for them to say, yes, this is a good restaurant. Sanji is the main character. He is very much Sanji. He's very fluent in how to cook. But the rest, that's all it is. There's nothing else in it. It's terrible. It's just not good. A lot of the other characters are in there as well. Nami's in there. They have this weird... So most people know Food Wars. Basically, the main characters make food, somebody eats it, and then the next page, normally they're naked, and it's like their euphoric moment of feeling the food. And for some reason, they're just naked. Now, I would show you, but first 2 women, or it's the same woman, is almost fully naked. There's a moment where Nami eats Sanji's food, and you get her reaction. And to be fair, it's not that bad, but it's not very Nami. So this is Nami here, showing how much she is enjoying the food. Now, you can't really see up her skirt, but I don't think we've ever got an up skirt for Sanji. Also, can you guys ignore the headphones? This is how I like to wear my headphones. Okay. No one mentioned it before until I mentioned it on Monday. But yeah, it felt really out of character. And what not only does the diagram kind of put me off, like we would never really see Nami in this kind of position. In saying that, we have seen her silhouette naked. And then what is the other off-putting thing is that Nami then goes on to explain how good the food is. Talking about how tender it is, how it's melting in her mouth, it's so sweet. And then starts getting all these metaphors. I'm like, that's not how Nami talks. So it's like it's not even her. They could have just given the dialogue, they could have just made it anybody else. But they didn't. And it's not great. Also, there was another scene with Zoro. Zoro also eats the food. And he ends off the panel with a felt that one, because he drinks it and then he eats it and then he drinks it, knocks it down with a beer. When I turned the page, I was scared that I was going to see a naked Zoro. Not that I was scared of it. I mean, I wouldn't mind. But I didn't. So that was fine. I was scared that they were going to tarnish the Zoro name. Also, what's weird is that Luffy is seen in this a couple of times, but they don't draw his eyes. And Chopper as well. You don't see Chopper. You see like half of Chopper, just his hat and an ear and a half a horn. And that's it. So I don't know if there was like specific characters he couldn't use or could use. I'm not too sure. It just wasn't good. It was all about the cooking, and that was it. And I wasn't interested enough in the cooking. It's nothing to do with One Piece. The art is okay. I mean, it's pretty detailed, but none of the characters, other than Sanji, represent their personalities aren't represented in this. I just found it really boring. I didn't even finish all of it. Kind of sucked. Basically, Food Wars meets Sanji. Kind of, yeah. Substitute the main character of Food Wars and swap it with Sanji, and this is basically it. I thought it would be maybe like a cookbook sort of thing, or like a history of Sanji, or where he's been. Nothing like that. There's no backstory. It's all about the food, and I'm not there for it. Bacon would hate it. I think everyone would hate it. If you like Food Wars, this would be great. If you like Sanji as a character, maybe you would like it, because you don't get to know about him, but it's just Sanji just talking, about food. You don't get to learn anything about him or his connection to the Straw Hats or anything like that. It's just about the food. Him and Zoro have a couple of bickers, but around it. And the other book I read, well, it was 2 books. It was the Ace's Story. I'm going to put these together because they look awesome. Can you... Lower? Bang. Look at that. Perfect. This is One Piece Ace's Story. This is based on the novel. And it was compiled into 2 separate books. And the confusing part is Volume 1 consists of how many chapters? It is 3 chapters. And Volume 2 consists also of 3? Also of 3 chapters. The first 2 chapters of Volume 1 is Ace's story. And then the 3rd chapter is a retelling of the fight between Zoro and Mihawk outside of Barati. I didn't actually check it. I don't think it was word for word. But it's basically the retelling of the fight starting from the moment Zoro and Mihawk lock eyes and they're about to fight. So this is like basically the 2nd page. Them getting ready to fight. And it's just that, basically. It's got, obviously, it's the art's by Boichi, who did Dr. Stone and a bunch of porn. It's amazing. The fight looks fantastic. The redesign of the characters, almost perfect. I wouldn't say better than Oda, because that would be disrespectful. But they are great. Some of the really impactful moments, like Zoro, spoilers, losing to Mihawk. When he cries out that he'll never lose again, was perfect. Because the retelling is great. It really is. And then in Volume 2, it is the retelling of the 3rd chapter is the fight between Nami and Khalifa, who is the secretary to Iceberg, who turns out to be a CP9 member. And what I will say is that the fight between Zoro and Mihawk looks amazing. I don't want to show off too much because I highly recommend both of these books. As you can imagine, 2 males fighting is like, it's just cool. Zoro's swinging his sword. Mihawk doesn't really move because, he's a warlord at this point, and Zoro's like a little fish in the ocean. But it's awesome. It's really cool. Zoro does his thing. He obviously inevitably loses. And Luffy steps in and Mihawk just like dodges, and it's just cool. It's a cool retelling. However, the fight between Nami and Khalifa is less of a fight and more of a fan service. Basically, every page is just both of them with their boobs and butts on show. Constantly. Any dialogue rarely has their face. It mostly has their bodies and their boobs on show. Obnoxiously so. And I tell you what, he knows how to draw what's the phrase I'm looking for? Like an over exaggeration of the female body. I could get taken down by showing some of these images. In this fight, so Khalifa, she has the soap. I don't know what it's called in Japanese. Basically, she touches people and they turn to soap. Turn to like smooth bubbles and stuff. As you can imagine, it's very moist. So Nami is very, very often dripping in liquid all on her body, as you can imagine. One thing I don't like is that Boichi, I think, has drawn the boobs a bit too unrealistic, or too realistic maybe. I don't know. I can't I'm looking at them right now. There's just too much water around the chest area. Also, Khalifa wears netting. Now in One Piece, Oda just has it crisscross. In this, Khalifa's chest is slipping out of all of the nooks and crannies of her leather jacket and bulging through the netting, if you can picture that. You have the Origin by Boichi. Is it any good? I'd like to pick it up. I would like to pick, is it Jung Ken? Maybe I'm making that. There's another one by Boichi, but it's not done in English. I'd like to pick up Origin. I like Boichi's artwork. Apollo. But yeah, it's the third chapters for both volumes are retellings and they are great. We all know the story. If you've read One Piece, there's nothing special about it. It looks really good. The fight is pretty intense towards the end, but I would say the Nami and Khalifa fight, more fan service than anything. And the Zoro and Mihawk fight is pretty badass. Completed at 10? Well, that's good to know. I always get worried when, series come over and how long they're going to... Maybe I'll pick it up. But it's Kodansha, right? It's super expensive. Anyways, the main reason why I picked this up because it was Ace's story. Now, Ace's story, the manga, is an adaptation of the novel, which apparently, at the end of Volume 2, the author, the person who did the storyboarding, said that they had to write out a lot of the other characters. In the novel, there's a bunch more characters. This hardly has any in comparison. And what this is basically like an origin story for Ace. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was it Less Than? Was it you? You mentioned about like, wish you got more information about Ace. And like him, watching him use Haki, that kind of thing. This is basically that. You start off like shortly after he leaves Luffy on the island at a young age. And it shows you how he gets his crew. It shows you how he meets Whitebeard. And it really does dive in to Ace's personality. You find out his wants, his needs, his dislikes, his hatred. You find out about his power and his relationship with the rest of the Whitebeard crew. And his crew. I completely forgot he was a pirate himself. Less Than hasn't read One Piece yet? Oh, maybe not then. Maybe it's someone else. But it's like the perfect story for a side character like Ace. Ace is one of those characters that is so dear to a lot of people's hearts. Considering how little screen time or page time Ace has, like he's not in it that often. He pops in, a couple of panels, gone. A couple of chapters, gone. But he really resonates with a lot of people. And you don't get to spend a lot of time with him. I feel like you know him a lot more. We got this big thing about Ace in Wano, which had like a fair bit of information. This gives you even more where he came from. And it's great. I think if you love One Piece, buy it, read it. You do have to at least read up to volume 60 though of One Piece. First, I should have said that first. Big spoilers, because there's certain things that happen in the Aces story that don't get explained until like after volume 60. But it's fantastic. I would rate it 10 out of 10 if you're a One Piece fan. Obviously, if you're not a One Piece fan, then it means nothing. He's a secondary character. He's a maybe even tertiary character. If you don't know the franchise well or at all, you're not going to understand or get it. Yeah, the first two chapters of volume one were great, and then first two chapters of volume 2 were just as great, and it concludes in 4 chapters. They could have done it in one book and not done the Zoro, Mihawk, and Nami and Khalifa fight. I guess they've made more money this way. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I would definitely read this again, like now. The art is fantastic. I can't really show you anything because a lot of it is spoilers. I'll just show you just this double page of Ace showing off his Fire Fist. Yeah, he's a great character, and if you're into One Piece, I think you should just read it. It's amazing. But if you're not into One Piece, then read it. Tell him to read it. Let them read it. You have no reason not to. Unless you don't like action shonen or world building. Sorry you're late. You don't have to be sorry. A lot of people come in and say, sorry for being late. You don't need to be sorry. You come when you come and you leave when you leave. Really enjoyed your YouTube origin story last stream. This is your comeback. Is this my comeback? I didn't know I left. Oh, last year I left, but I came back in January. He has a 12 pack. He does have a 12 pack. I don't know why they do that. Very often they draw 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it 12? I mean, he has the 6 pack, and then he has like the parts that are just underneath, just on top of the 6 pack, and then like the underneath part next to the obliques. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Santino, most underrated channel. Thanks. I don't think so. Just unpopular, I would say. I am but a small part of the manga community, but your words are very kind. Thank you. You might get around to it. Well, it is like, at the moment, 106 volumes, which is quite a lot. You could read it in like 3 months. 2 months if you like. Go pretty quick. Drink, you haven't read it either? To be fair, it is very, very long. However, when you get up to date with One Piece, you soon come to realize that it's not long enough. There's not enough time in the world to expand on every single island that Luffy and the crew land on. But I think I'd probably get around to reading it sometime soon. I haven't read One Piece. It's been 2 years since I have reread One Piece. So maybe I'll get around to reading it again. 100 volumes is so much though. Also have not read One Piece. There's so many people that haven't read One Piece. In that case, remember, do not buy Ace's story. And do not read it. If I did read One Piece, dude, we'd have to schedule that hard. It would be regimented. You'd have to do like X amount of volumes to get a whole story arc. The thing is with buddy reads is that some people read slowly, some people read fast. Zoe's always in buddy reads, and it's like sometimes she can only really read one volume a night. Sometimes two if she's lucky. Most of the time it's one. And the friends sometimes she buddy reads with work from home. So she's like, you know, coming in at the end of the day. I'm about to read volume 1, and everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm on volume 5. And I'm like, I'll catch up soon. You got to Drum Island, got bored reading from there. I guess if you're bored at that point, I think One Piece isn't for you, which is fine. I know a couple of people, like friends, who have watched and read One Piece, and yeah, they just couldn't get past like the Romance Dawn arc. They couldn't get past Arlong Park. I think Arlong Park is where a lot of people feel like invested, because it really like connects two arcs together, like Barati and Arlong Park. So it's like, I don't know, like a continuing story. There's things happening whilst in one area, whilst things are happening in a different area. The characters have like high stakes, and I think a lot of people get invested. It takes a while still for it to pick up. Alabasta is like the big one. If you can make it to Alabasta all the way to the end, I think you're like a set One Piece fan at that point. Yeah, I would recommend One Piece to everyone, but it isn't for everyone. I think everyone could like it though. Just don't be intimidated by the length. Right, I need to find out what I'm going to read next week. What did I say? I feel like I've got everything down. I read like volume 1s of almost everything. Variety was awful for you. Don Krieg was really basic, but I feel like it was so quick. It wasn't that terrible. I also think that if you're comparing One Piece from the beginning by today's shonen standards, when you're like My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, or even like something even more extreme like Chainsaw Man or Dandadan, it does have a different feel to it. You know, the pacing is quite slow, but then it did come out in like, you know, 1999, the early 2000s. It was such a big deal. Personally, I think it still holds the test of time, but then I'm old. All right, what is it today? I'm already reading Chobits. That is my Clamp series for the month. I'm almost finished with Kaiju. I'm finishing up One Punch Man. I need to read something new. I don't know what I have that is new in my collection though. Something by Shuzo Ishimi. I haven't read Happiness, and I say recently, I think last month we picked up all of Happiness, or the month before maybe. Maybe I'll do Happiness, and you know what? I genuinely think I could do Happiness in a week. Because Zoe did it in 2 days, I think. And I don't know if it's as wordy, but I read Blood on the Tracks volumes 1 to 14 in a day. Not even in a day, in an afternoon. Like it was, I think it was for 3 hours. There's Zoe, I'm going upstairs. And I whipped out Blood on the Tracks. When I came down at dinner time, I was like, done. Read Happiness. I think I'll do Happiness. I'll go for Happiness because we have it all. Something available on the Viz Media app. What is available on the Viz Media app? We want to do is get to the peak bits, but the start is just boring. I think with that mindset, if you just want to get to the peak bits, if you're just watching the big fights, then it's not going to have such a big impact. I think to know the stakes of why the characters are fighting and what the fight means to each character and each party member, I think that comes with knowing the full story. I think when Luffy beats Crocodile in Alabasta, it doesn't mean as much when you haven't followed him from the moment he meets Vivi in volume 13. And when it comes to volume 22 and it's the end of that arc, it doesn't hit as hard if you was just to watch the final fight. It's the progression of meeting Vivi, understanding where she is, who she is, what she wants to achieve, and having Luffy go with her and take her on this journey to show her the world outside of being a princess, but two, also showing her what it means to be a ruler. I know Luffy isn't a ruler, but he's a captain. He has responsibility for these people, and Vivi has exactly the same thing. When she's older, she will be the ruler of Alabasta, and she doesn't know any of that. She doesn't have that in her mindset, whilst Luffy does. He teaches her a lot of things. She learns about, life and, different islands that she's never been to, and obviously struggles of other continents. I think when Luffy hits that final blow, you feel it's almost like a flashback for me. It's like a flashback from the past 10 volumes that you've read. Same with Water 7. It's like 10 volumes of anguish for Robin. And gets to the end, big bad guy gets defeated by Luffy, and it's just so epic. Not because he just punched a guy, but because of what the punch means. Viz Media. What is on the Viz Media? What do we have? Shonen Jump. Things I don't want you all. I'm looking now. There's not going to be a lot in Shonen Jump soon. Oh. You guys notice that Witch Watch is getting an announcement? That came out today. I think today. This will be coming out by the end of the year. It's at 45 chapters already. Man, it's nearly been a year since this came out. That's crazy. I don't know if there's anything I want to read. I might read Blue Lock soon. Zoe said she wanted to get into Blue Lock because a few people have mentioned Blue Lock to her. And I've had this at 161 volumes though. And going. What the... What? Or maybe not. Shiba Inu rooms. What is this Wild Strawberry? I might want to read this soon. Wild Strawberry. I think we got a physical release for this. Did we get Wild Strawberry? I don't think we have. Not yet. I don't think it's out physically. Blue Lock is a football one. Not Blue Lock, Blue Box. That's the one I meant. Stop it. Have I read this one? I feel like I may have read this one. I think I've read a couple of chapters for this. I'm sure I saw somebody talking about this physically. I've already read this because a lot of these are ongoing and I don't really want to start them all again. The ones that I am up to date with, like Dandadan. We've already read these. Blade of the Moon Princess. I want to read this, but probably at the end of the year when we have the last volume. Wait, you can read this on the Shonen Jump app? I didn't know. What is this? When did this come out? I presume that will come out with the Wanted volume. Still think I'd like the Blue Lock. I think I have volume 1. I don't have volume 1 to hand. I'm pretty sure we do. Zoe said that we have it. But I'm not the biggest fan of football, but I probably would enjoy it. I do like shonen. Dogs Red? Was Dogs Red on the Jump app? I don't think it was. Was it? Oh, it is! It's ice hockey as well, right? I love ice hockey, man. I used to play when I was younger. I used to ice skate. It's basically just Golden Kamui, isn't it? They all, he's got away with drawing eyes, and they all look very similar. This is basically Shiraishi. And this has Sugimoto eyebrows and eyes. Except from he's got like eyelashes. Spirit, you're reading Dark Gathering? Are you up to date with it? I'm so far behind now. I think we're on volume 8 now physically. I've only read up to volume 2. And I have 4 volumes. Alright. Next week, I'm reading Happiness. And by the end of the week, by next week, Wednesday, I would have read it all. Also, it doesn't mean anything because I have zero intention of doing it right now, and I don't. I just sold my MacBook, and I don't have a video editing software now. I've only got this computer, but I have recorded like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13 videos. And it's 14, 15 videos. Actually, these two are the same. 14 videos. I will maybe edit them soon. You've read a couple volumes of Happiness. Have you got the rest of it? Let's read it together. You're going to read Homunculus? Volume Omnibus 1? Great. Omnibus 2? Very hard. Very hard read. If you read it, let me know what you think. And if you read past the second Omnibus, let me know. Because I don't know anyone who's read past Omnibus 2. Because they've all dropped it. Volumes 3 and 4. Very difficult to continue reading after such a horrific act. That was not enjoyable. You gonna have the rest? Oh, man. I hope you like it. Anyways, next week I'm reading Happiness. As always, you can join the Discord. You do not have to. But I'm just using it as a way to make sure that I actually read my books. I'm now accountable for it. And when will I see you next? I don't know when I'll see you next. I'll see you Sunday. Marbles Sunday. And if I can start early, I'll do Play Up again. The Play Up was fun. And if I don't see you Sunday, then it will be Monday, where we do Zoe's husband list and more story times. Which volumes am I reading? I think we're doing all of them. 1 to 10. 10? I'll do one volume. I'll make a forum. for each volume. Man, I've just looked at the Discord. I don't upload anything. And I'm still accountable. Take it easy, guys. Good night. And enjoy the rest of your week.